Hello everyone, my name is Haider Ali. We're here with the Ali's Media channel, and what we're doing here is we're here in Birmingham City Centre recording the Palestine Vigil. This is going to be the Healthcare Workers for Palestine, Doctors Against Genocide video. So what this is we're in Birmingham City Centre. As you can see behind me, we've got a little bit of a gathering going on. Every healthcare professional, be it doctor, be it nurse, be it allied healthcare professional, they're going to be out here showing their solidarity for Palestine, showing their solidarity against the genocide that is occurring, and showing their solidarity especially for the healthcare workers that have died. So if you come along with me, we're going to start seeing the crowd milling about a little bit more. Obviously, a lot more people are going to turn up. This event starts at 6:30. It runs from 6:30 for about half an hour to 45 minutes. And it's just a very beautiful celebration, a very beautiful remembrance, a vigil of everybody that has suffered in the Palestine conflict.
I treated an approximately 1-year-old boy. His right arm and right leg had been blown off by a bomb, and flesh was still hanging off his foot. He had a blood-stained diaper which remained, but there was no leg below. I treated the baby while he lay on the ground. There were no stretchers available. All the beds had already been taken, considering that many people were also trying to use this hospital as a shelter or a safe space for their family. This 1-year-old boy had blood pouring into his chest cavity. He needed a chest tube so he wouldn't asphyxiate on his own blood. But there were neither chest tubes nor blood pressure cuffs that were available in pediatric sizes. There was no morphine given in this chaos. It wasn't even available. This patient in the United Kingdom or America would have gone immediately into the emergency room. But instead, the orthopedic surgeon bandaged the stumps up and said he couldn't take him to the operating theatre right now because there were more pressing emergencies. And I tried to imagine what was more pressing than a 1-year-old with no hands and no legs choking on his own blood. And yet our government is doing nothing, sitting on their hands and doing nothing, saying platitudes to try and appease us, telling us this week that they want Palestine to have an independent state. But they do not mean it. They are lying to us. They are lying to us in order to further their goals with Israel. Last week, after the ICJ found it plausible that Israel was committing genocide, the International Criminal Courts found it plausible that Israel was committing a genocide. And what did the UK and the US do the next day? They cut their funding to the only recognized refugee agency run by the UN in Palestine. Shame on them. Shame on them. How can we allow this to continue? Not in my name, and not in your names either. But the problem is, people at home say, what do protests do? Why do you protest? And I tell you this, the problem is not that we are protesting. The problem is that we're not protesting enough. We need more. Everybody should be protesting. Nobody who's got a human cell should be allowing this to continue. This is not a fight against Muslims or Christians, it's a fight against humanity by the Israeli government. Not only that, but British doctors that have been going into Gaza under the so-called protection of Israel have been bombed by Israel. They are now not going back in because of the safety risk to them by the Israeli government. And this is not hidden away, this is not covert operations, this is fact. And this is known by the British government, and yet they are still complicit. They still fund the Israeli arms, but they don't fund the Palestinian refugees. It's a disgrace.
Fatima al-Masri, 1 year old. She was born with a hole in her heart. Before your first step, you stopped. Your heart stopped. A blockade placed between you and your mother's arms. Jamal Mahmoud, a baby, 0 years old, died of hunger in his mother's arms.
The situation that we remember from a few days ago, where more than 100 people were shot for trying to get a little bit of flour, that's just one situation. Until now, there have been 46 instances of distribution sites being targeted, where people have wanted to receive life-saving assistance and have left with limbs missing, or worse, with their lives missing.
Stop bombing doctors! Stop bombing doctors! Stop bombing nurses! Stop bombing nurses! Stop bombing midwives! Stop bombing midwives! Stop bombing Palestine! Stop bombing Palestine! Hospitals! Not the target! Doctors! Not the target! Nurses! Not the target! Children! Not the target! Babies! Not the target! Mothers! Not the target! Mothers! Not the target! Mothers! Not the target! Fathers! Not the target! Children! Not the target! Ventilators! Not the target! Incubators! Not the target! Blood banks! Not the target! Clinics! Not the target! Palestinians! Not the target! Palestinians! Not the target! Palestinians! Not the target! Palestinians! Not the target! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! Stop the bombs! Stop the war! Healthcare workers, say no more! Stop the bombs! Stop the war! Healthcare workers, say no more! Stop the bombs! Stop the war!
Healthcare workers say no more.
Stop the bombs! Stop the war!
So that was an amazing vigil. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a little chat with the people that attended the vigil.
So my name is Afshan Ahmed, and I'm a lecturer in a medical school. I come here not as representing my medical school. I come here as a human being, remembering other human beings. But why it touches my heart specially is because I teach medical students, I teach nurses, and I teach physicians associates. All of these people were one of those people. And every time I look at my students, I wish them well, because I hope that when they come out and serve their communities and the world, they will not be subjected. They will be protected, and they will be special people. And they will not be subjected to this. And that's why I come. By attending, I am remembering those who have died serving others. And it's a reminder to every single person who's here that these healthcare workers, don't forget, were human beings like you and I. They had husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, children, aunts, uncles, grandparents. And we cannot forget them because they died serving others. And attending something like this is an act of remembrance to say to them, wherever they are, that I haven't forgotten.
So my name's Ayaz. I'm a paramedic. I've been a paramedic for about 7 or 8 years now. I'm originally from the northeast. I've migrated down here to the Midlands.
So media plays a crucial role in shaping public perception. How do you feel the media portrays the situation in Palestine? What changes would you like to see in the way the conflict is covered? And more importantly, do you think there has been any change since the start of the new escalation? in the way the media has presented the conflict?
It depends. When you say media, it depends on which narrative the media is coming from. And so when you see the Western narrative, I feel they have interests with Israel, and so it's going to be portrayed in a light where Israel, their crimes aren't being as portrayed as or shown as openly, and so it gets to a point, and I noticed as well with the media, it started off with pointing fingers at the Palestinians and Hamas, and saying inflammatory comments. Some of the reporters had got into quite vicious arguments with representatives of the Palestinian people, and so this painted the Palestinians, I think, in a very bad light, and then shaped the narrative of what the people think and how they're supposed to feel towards these things. Then some of the Israeli crimes I noticed that started to become a bit too obvious, and so the media couldn't hide it. And then they started to display what was happening. However, they would always put an undertone on it that would kind of take away the seriousness of what's happening, or kind of push blame on towards Hamas or the Palestinians as to why it's happened. It's because of them. This has happened because of them. People are dying because they're using them as human shields, etc., etc. There's so many examples. Yet, we see from on the ground sources, people who are actually there making videos and sending them out. It's very opposite to that. And I think from what I've seen as well online, I think majority of the people, they do not stand with what the government stands for. The government isn't representing what the people really truly believe. Majority of people are supporting Palestine. They want the genocide to stop. They want a ceasefire, and if that's what the people want, that's what they should receive. It cannot continue any longer.
I've just got one more question for you. So the emotions surrounding the Palestine-Israel conflict can be overwhelming. Can you share your personal emotional response to being here at the vigil today? How do you navigate the mix of emotions during events like these?
It's a very good question, actually. I was just having a conversation with somebody just then about how to process the feelings and emotions after everything that's going on. You kind of feel a bit lost in this world. You feel a bit, I wouldn't say alone, but hopeless. If this is happening over there in front of the entire world on a stage where everybody can see, what hope is there for the rest of us? What if this kind of struggle occurs here in the UK or anywhere else? It's just being allowed to happen, and because of that, there's such a mix of emotions. You feel anger, you feel pain, you feel regret for not being able to do anything. There's so many different issues and mixed feelings involved in this.
We have just had our final demonstration before Ramadan. Can you give us a run through of what just happened?
Yeah, so at 7 o'clock today, we started our vigil in central Birmingham for the people of Palestine, specifically the health workers of Palestine that have passed away. What it entailed was we spoke about what is on the ground, what the suffering is on the ground, what the barbarism that we are noticing and observing from afar, and how our government is complicit in this. We touched on the fact that it's International Women's Day today, on the 8th of March, and that Mother's Day is approaching, and yet women are suffering C-sections without anesthesia. They are using sanitary towels made from tent material, and that we as Western communities cannot celebrate an International Women's Day or a Mother's Day in any good faith when we are allowing this to continue. So this is the summary really of why we are here today.
I've got one more question for you. So just give me a little bit about your background and one last point on what people can do to continue to raise awareness for Gaza, Palestine, especially this upcoming Ramadan.
Thank you. So I'm Mahmoud Tawfiq. I'm a clinical pharmacist and a graduate medical student at the University of Birmingham. I know people are asking and wondering what they can do for the Palestinians, but really and truly, the goal here is to keep talking, to keep spreading the word, and to not cowed or bow to the pressures of this narrative that by protesting for Palestine you are somewhat anti-Semitic. That's just simply not the case. This is a situation where we are protesting for the freedom of a people. We're protesting to stop the bombing of innocent people and to save lives here. This is a humanitarian effort, and it's not based on political leanings or political goals. It's not based on religion or race or creed. This is based purely on humanity. And that is really why we're here today. And I think the most important thing is not to think that we are the demonized ones. We are not the ones that are protesting for hate here. And that is something that the government is trying to drum into the public. We're here protesting for love, for peace, and for the valuing of Palestinian people as equals to Israelis, to Brits, to Americans. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israelism! 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 Thank you! Thank you!